Hi, you're watching Digit TV episode 3. Thanks for all the feedback that you sent in last time. This time, however, we won't have any gag because Rossi refuses to act and his fledgling acting career looks like ended in the second episode itself. Now, this time he'll show you how to kill thousands of zombies in Left 4 Dead 2. After that, I'll get very up close and personal with HP Touch Smart PC. Then Aditya will show you some cool new websites that he found. And we have a trip to Ruchi Infotech, which is a laptop repairing workshop, and we'll show you how laptops are actually repaired. And now over to Michael, who will show you the Zune HD.
We have a really cool product today, Zune HD from Microsoft. It comes in a really funky box, and you can see the whole lettering, Zune Originals. They've kind of give it kind of a branding effect. The player is nestled very neatly inside the box. That's the Zune HD. As you can see, the device itself is pretty small, smaller than an iPod Touch. Some colorful earpads. You already have a very cool pink color. It's the bundled earbuds. Not in ear, mind you. So this is a very cool device that has been making a lot of waves. Unfortunately, it's not available in India, and as far as we know, it's not going to be for the next few months. As mentioned, it's pretty light, smaller than the iPod Touch. It's got a kind of a ribbed, contoured kind of a rear, which has a brushed aluminium look, which is pretty cool. The front is pretty plain looking, matte plastic. The screen is a 3.3-inch OLED screen, and I'm going to put it on for you. You can have a look at the screen, and I'm gonna, I hope, yes, so you're into the main menu now. So we like the effect that the Zune HD has going for it. If you notice the text, the background is very black, very white text. So a very contrasty kind of a old school kind of a look that it's giving. So to move very interestingly, unlike the iPod Touch, the iPod Touch tends to have this very list-like kind of view where you have artists, albums, playlists, so on and so forth, all range, whereas the Zune has it in a very, well, it's a little difficult to use in the beginning, but once you really get used to it, it's really funky and cool. So you have artists, you just keep swiping, you have playlists, you have songs, genres, albums, so on and so forth. So a very different, very refreshing kind of a change from what the iPod does. So if I were to play a track, one of the slight flaws in the device is that, as we thought, this was actually a volume adjustment, but in fact it's not. When you press it, it will bring up a contrast, it will bring up a context menu, and then you go to adjust the volume, or you can skip to the next track. So something as simple as adjusting volume is actually a two-stage process, which makes it a little more complicated, especially if you've got the device in your pocket, you're on board a bus, something like that, and you don't want to take it out. Other than that, the navigation system is pretty cool. The screen is really good for video. So I'm going to play a video over here. So the device orients. So you have a wide screen. That's a 16:9 screen. Once again, the context menu. So if you see the video playback, it's really crisp and vivid thanks to the screen, and there's also no stuttering or any kind of pixelation or anything visible. So the Zune actually runs really good hardware. It's based on NVIDIA's Tegra solution. Okay, that was the end of that video. So I'm going to put on another video. So like I was saying, it's based on a Tegra solution, which is a pretty powerful chip, which is actually 8 processors on a single chip. The Zune actually has a video out port with which the cable is not bundled, however. You can use this if you purchase the cable, which I believe costs another $100 or so. you could actually connect this to an HD TV and stream up to 720p content on that. So the Zune supports up to 720p playback, which is pretty impressive for a device of this size. In fact, it is playing at the moment, it is playing a Blu-ray rip, which is recorded at 720p. A very simplistic design. It's got a power button on the top. It's got a main menu button, which is basically your center of control. And it's also got a very peculiar button which I initially thought was a volume button, but it turns out to be some kind of a context menu button on the side. The device, as I said, is pretty slim. It's built pretty well. The rear is brushed aluminium, some very industrial grade looking screws on the back of the device. The rest of the front is plastic and is mainly dominated by a relatively large 3.3 inch OLED screen. So what is unique about this OLED screen is generally when we've tested OLED screens or come across cell phones with OLED screens in the past, they tend to be pretty mediocre in terms of display quality, in terms of brightness levels, in terms of contrast. So this is really unique because the screen is really good, very contrasty, very good for movies from what we've seen.
Hi, my name is Rossi Fernandez and I'm going to be giving my first few impressions of the new zombie killing game called this new version isn't a lot different from the first version, from the first few hours of play that I had. It still continues to be the mad non-stop zombie killing game it was, and that's sort of the problem. People were expecting a lot more from this game, but it feels like a continuation of the first game, sort of an expansion pack. The graphics do look a little better. Most of the gameplay occurs in the daytime, so you aren't going through dark passageways and buildings like you were in the first Left 4 Dead. The monsters also are pretty much the same, so what you're really getting for your money is just a better looking Left 4 Dead, many more maps, a few new gameplays. Multiplayer is limited to just 4 people at a time, so when you play online you can have a 4-player 4-on-4 multiplayer, or you can have a 4-player co-op mode. There are new characters, the location is new as well. My personal opinion is that Valve should have done a lot more and maybe changed the game a lot more, or maybe provided this as an expansion to the first Left 4 Dead. Having seen Left 4 Dead's popularity sort of drop over the months after it was released, it looks like Left 4 Dead 2 also will be following the same path. In fact, I think Valve has planned an expansion for the current Left 4 Dead 2. So not to say that it's a bad game, it's really good fun game. But if you're looking for a game that will keep you occupied for months together, I don't think this game comes close to, say, Call of Duty 4 or even Team Fortress 2 or maybe Counter-Strike, for example. People still playing those games still find it fun every single day. After a while, Left 4 Dead tends to get a little boring and a little lonely because you only have 4 people playing at a time. As a game,